It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and this is news that you can use for Tuesday, November 21st, 2 days before Thanksgiving, from CarEdge with your hosts, me, like I'm freezing in my cardigan, and Zach wearing a T-shirt. How are you today, handsome?
I am doing great, Pops. How are you doing?
Well, anytime I see me on your chest, that doesn't sound good, but I like the look of that shirt.
Shop.caredge.com. Get your knowledge is power t-shirts, folks. The car market has finally flipped, which means permission from us to go buy cars. I think that happened. I think it's happening right now. We're going to look at two different data sources to kick things off, and then we will have a hell of a discussion. First things first, the data from BlackBook showing serious declines in used car prices. The market down 1.5% week over week. In the first paragraph from BlackBook, they're saying the question now is where is the bottom? We'll break down that data in just a moment. The other thing that we want to look at, Pops, is every single week we get a weekly market update from our friends over at Cox Automotive, and they provide us this great snapshot into their leading indicators. Cox Automotive is the conglomerate that owns Kelley Blue Book, Auto Trader, everything like that. This is from Cox Automotive. This week came out this morning. Leads are down year over year so far in November on both Auto Trader and Kelley Blue Book, and leads are down for the month compared to October on both sites. Credit applications on Dealer Track were down 7% year over year last week. Unique applications on a same store basis saw a declining trend. Pops, used car prices finally crashing. Leads for dealers are going down. Credit apps going down. Has the car market finally flipped?
Yes. In a word, yes. It is. When you pull up that black book data again one more time, you will see that historically speaking, this week values typically go down about a half a point. We're at a point and a half. That's 3 times a greater decline than what you would normally expect this time of year. And that follows a week where we had an even larger decline in the market. It is 3% of wholesale value has been lost in just the past 2 weeks. 3%. That is huge. When you scroll down further, you will see some of the breakdowns as to what some of these cars have lost. For instance, stop for 1 second, scroll back up for 1 second, because I want to do automotive first. Cars, look at that. Full-size cars. If you had bought one last week, and then you bought it, and then or the week before, and you went to sell it last week, you would have lost on average $414. That is a significant decline from week to week. And in trucks, we've seen the same type of things. These are not normal rates of decline that we normally see this time of year. Yes, we see declines, but not to this degree, which would indicate to me that finally, between high interest rates, growing inventories, a smaller percentage of people in the market, that dealers are finally starting to feel the pinch. And that should mean that car prices will go down. And the last 5 weeks of the year could be just a great time if you've been waiting to get a car. If you're expecting that they're going to go down to pre-pandemic levels, well, maybe when we have another Great Depression, that'll happen. But let's hope we never have another one of those.
Dad, you mentioned cars. Let's look at those trucks. If I scroll down just a little bit further, trucks also includes, from the BlackBook data, SUVs and vans.
Yes.
I mean, we've never seen a 5.5% decline in wholesale values of a segment of vehicle ever. And I'm the king of clickbait, folks.
Yeah.
Never. We've never seen this. 5.5% compact van wholesale prices for compact vans down 5.5% in 1 week.
Yes. On average, $705. An average drop in the cost of full-size SUVs, $570. An average drop in full-size vans, $463. An average drop in full-size pickups, $506 in a week on a wholesale level. That's staggering. That is a staggering sum of money to see as a decline in values from week to week. Now, what doesn't bode well is what that's going to mean for your trade-in value. Because
I want to go there in just a second, Pops.
Okay.
Before we do, I don't know if you saw this in the data. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. The thing that has the alarm bell going off in my mind
Yes.
is this. The actual sales rate. So we track every single week what percentage of vehicles actually sell at the auction. The
Yes.
sales rate is 55%. So that means when we saw sales rates even lower, that was because sellers were not selling vehicles below their floors. Okay. They
Yes.
set a price floor and they wouldn't sell it below that. This is showing us week over week, 1.5% declines at the auctions for 2 weeks in a row. Sellers are selling cars below their floors just to get rid of them.
Yes.
That's what this is, the alarm bell for me. That is no longer are people holding out, dealers holding out for better options. The best option is to take the loss. And this is really, truly the first time we're seeing the data indicate that that's the way that they're thinking. The best option right now is for me to just sell the doggone thing at auction, lose my money, and move on.
Yes.
Live to play another day.
Yes. And if you scroll up a little bit more, scroll back up a little more,
What section do you want, Pops?
little more, one more section. Keep going. One more section.
Just tell me what section you want.
This one right there. Okay. And you can look at where we're at on retail listing price index. It has dropped dramatically. We are at 95%. So there has been, over the last 12 weeks, a 5% drop on the retail side of things. And I would not be surprised to see another 5% drop or so between now and the end of the year. You can see the trajectory of where we're at. It is declining rapidly on the retail side of things. So I just wanted to point that out.
All right, Dad, let's do it. Let's see how this is going to impact trade-in values. And again, we have free guides helping you understand how to get the most for your trade-in. Let's take a peek, Dad. Let's use your Mini Clubman as the example. Last time we got a price update from Carvana was just yesterday, Dad. And supposedly your Mini Clubman went up in value $300 again very recently. So, and this is
I don't even own that one anymore. That was my 2020. Yeah.
So guys, we have CarEdge.com/sell. You can enter all the information here. It's got 39,580 miles. So I'll update that. Give me 1 second. 580. And this is in Washington, D.C. for this one. Dad, the Carvana offer on this, again, I'll pull that up on the screen, 23 and some change. Do you think that Carvana is going to have the highest offer? And do you think that this actually has gone up in value, or do you think it's following the trend of, going down in value?
I think the value will go up slightly, and it'll be higher at CarMax because CarMax is the largest seller of pre-owned minis in the United States.
All right, so I'll bring you back here. I've been answering the questions to get the cash offers. Let's see, Dad. The other one that we're going to run here after this is going to be a 2019 GMC Yukon. So we'll do two different examples and we'll see what's going on. Again, the headline for today is that we finally are seeing car prices, crash. I don't think it's crazy to say. CarMax at $21,000. Dad, CarMax's offer is $2,787 below the Carvana offer. Look at that.
Well, then Carvana's on drugs. But then again, they're averaging $6,400 profit per car these days.
Look at these values. Does this not show what the BlackBook data shown? Because the CarMax offer, when we did this most recently with that Mini, was significantly higher than the Carvana offer. They've come down. Vroom's come down. Car Gurus has come down. I mean, this truly is this is a demonstration of wholesale values are starting to decline, so trade-in values are starting to decline.
Absolutely. It's, I guess it's got to happen. I would have thought, based on my experience with CarMax in the past, that their offer would remain higher than Carvana's. I am surprised, because I don't think Carvana sells anywhere near as many pre-owned minis as CarMax does.
Let's try it for that GMC Yukon, Dad. So again, Carvana on this one has actually said it's lost $3,300 of its value in the past month. $3,300 in value erased. It's worth $37,900. This is a 2019 GMC Yukon with 35,000 miles on it. So let's come back over here. We entered all the information. Let me do this really quick. Clean title. Yeah, we own it. Yeah, we've got the title. No accidents. Again, I encourage everyone to use this not only with selling your own vehicle, but it's also just a really great tool to see what these companies are willing to pay to buy certain vehicles. So use it. And it's free. All right, 2 keys. We got new tires. Let's see. So, Dad, this one is the GMC Yukon. Carvana's at $37,900. You were talking about it just a moment ago. Wholesale values on these full-size SUVs have gone down almost 2%.
I think we're going to see somewhere around 30. Holy shit! I'm not allowed to say that on air. Oh my! You gotta. Is it too early for you? You gotta be kidding me! Oh my God! Oh my God! They must have more stupid buyers for that type of product at CarMax than anywhere else in America.
For those of you that listen to the podcast and don't watch the live stream, CarMax coming in hot at $43,000. They are $6,000 higher than the next closest offer, which is CarGurus at $36,677. And they are obviously significantly higher than the Carvana offer of $37,900. This just again reaffirms, Dad, thank goodness we are not in a position where we're putting values on cars, because the BlackBook data suggests that CarMax is crazy. But CarMax is out here saying if you have the thing, we'll pay $43,000 for it. Thousands more than everyone else. That is absurd.
Now, what zip code did you use for that one?
That was Maryland. So right outside Washington, D.C.
Imagine what it would be if we were in truck country. If you were in Texas or Montana, and not because I don't. Well, maybe a lot of government vehicles are the full size Suburbans and Yukons and things like that. But still, that's like crazy numbers.
That was absurd. And obviously we do these live so we can get the reactions and so that we can see. And it's truly like something I've never seen before, Dad. That big of a price difference. We've never seen that on this show, especially crazy. On a day where we have the BlackBook data saying there are, 2% declines in wholesale values. All right, Dad, let's come here to the chat. Fly Chomper Fly, thanks for the contribution. But service also declined. Yes, we have no money. Yeah, that was another thing that the Cox Automotive data did show, is that service revenues and service appointments are down. I don't know if I want to say we have no money, but I think it could be people are being more penny smart. They don't want to spend as much money on their car.
Let's look at it this way. What time of year is it? We're 2 days away from Thanksgiving. We're 15 days, less than 15 days away from Hanukkah. We're a month away from Christmas. Are people going to give up holiday gifts or getting their car serviced? They're giving up getting their car serviced. Okay. It's just, that's the time of year it is. So, I would think if we looked back historically, we would find that this is the time of year when service departments are not nearly as busy as they are the rest of the year, because people are using their money for other things, figuring they can put off that maintenance, that service, until sometime after the first of the new year. Just a guess.
No, I think you could be right. Although let's be clear, this is the time of year when typically the Cox Automotive data would show leads going up, dealer sales going up. I mean, I didn't queue it up for today, but a car dealership guy, CDG over on Twitter, he
Yes.
posted a temperature check for the economy. Go read the comments on that. It's a lot of folks in there, a lot of salespeople, sales managers, dealer principals saying, things are pretty doggone slow. We can attest to this. We have our dealer partners now. We're doing the pre-negotiated pricing. I was on the phone with the CDJR group that we're working with. That how far below invoice do you think they're willing to go on Jeep Gladiators? Not manufacturer rebate, dealer discount. How far below, not MSRP, invoice do you think they're willing to go?
$1,500 below invoice.
7% below invoice.
Excuse me?
7% below invoice on Jeep Gladiators. I don't know how they make money. There's not enough holdback to make up for 7%.
There's got to be a huge stair-step program from Jeep that allows the dealer to go 7% below invoice. And if they hit their objective, make that and much, much more back. But that's good for the consumer.
It's great for the consumer, but let's be clear here, Dad. Then you look at the Cox Automotive data, leads are down.
Yes.
Evidently it's not deep enough. This is the time of year where these dealers should be hustling, bustling, lots of deals left and right. 7% below invoice, Dad. I was blown away when I saw. I mean, we don't have that we do on the 2023 Mazdas now have $500 below invoice over on the 2023 Mazda. So we are working our dealer partners to get better pre-negotiated pricing for the community. But holy cow, man. I mean, some of the flip has occurred and we're really, really starting to see it show up. Let's switch gears, Dad. And let's have a moment to talk about Ford. They're struggling, dude. They're really struggling. The headline in Automotive News this morning, Ford tweaks EV dealer program again, loses challenge in Illinois. The company is cutting dealer training costs by half and reducing the number of chargers its retailers must install. It also is delaying the deadline to install chargers, citing supply chain shortages. If I'm not mistaken, Dad, Ford came out big and bold and said, hey, dealers, we're moving in this new direction. You got to pony up some cash to get involved. And it seems like, I don't want to say it, but it's fizzling out. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, they can say to save their corporate face that it's supply chain issues. It's not. The issues are they're not selling their EVs to any great degree that they had anticipated they would sell them. So it's hard to convince dealers to spend $1.2 million to get onto the program with them and install 5 chargers. Well, apparently 2 will do. And so, the reality of the situation is what looked like unbridled growth 2 years ago when they announced the program is like, holy cow, we've got EVs coming out we don't know what to do with all our EVs. How can we expect the dealers to have to invest this kind of money? And then, in a state like Illinois, where the state board said, guess what? You're violating your franchise agreements. So they have to adjust what it is they're trying to do. And, maybe at some point reality will set in for our dear friends at Ford. Maybe.
Is that not what's happening right now, Dad? I mean, that's what these announcements, I think, feel like. The reality is setting.
But I don't think they've really accepted reality yet. I think reality is a little worse than what they're suspecting at the moment. Now, I know, I interviewed for Auto Insiders with Ray Shefska. I interviewed Chris Barron, who's the vice president and general manager of a pretty large size Ford dealership, Mullinax Ford in Kissimmee, Florida. The day I interviewed him, he had 73 Mach-E's on the lot. 73. Okay.
Look at this, Dad. Days supply near me, 238 days supply of Mach-E's. 302 for sale, 57 have sold in the last 45 days. So, dealers are struggling to move the Mach-E's.
Yeah, and he even had, I think he had 50 some Lightnings. So, yes, he wants to be in the EV business. He thinks he needs to be, but he also realizes that it's a struggle at the moment to price them low enough that somebody will say, "Yeah, I'll come in and buy one." That's the issue. It has it has gone from "if you build it, they will come" to "well, we've built it, now we're stuck with it. What do we do?" And that transitioned pretty quickly. Where so many of the manufacturers just thought, "Well, we'll just come out with an EV. People will buy them," and they
What was
didn't.
the we would drive by that dealership. It was CDJR and VW, I think.
Yes,
In
yes.
yeah, let's take it. Let's do a
In
quick
Northfield, in
in
Northfield.
Northfield. Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
a quick. So that was what's like the zip code over there?
What the hell do I know? I don't know.
All right, whatever. We'll use yours. But we'll search within 100 miles, and then
Well,
let's
I can
do
assure you it's the closest CDJR and VW dealer to me. So
exactly. So let's do Volkswagen ID for Atlantic VW. I think that's it,
yeah,
right?
that's it. That's it. Atlanta
All right.
Chrysler
They
VW.
had so many of these sitting around. So let's see real quick. Only a 72-day supply. Okay. All right. I thought it would be way, way, way more than that. This is the Pro, though. Let's see. Let me grab a different one. First edition Pro S. All right. Let's try the Pro S here. God, these are expensive. Oh,
Whatever.
there you go, Dad.
Yeah. Whatever they have too many of them. I mean, there's 158 for sale, and 21 have sold in the last 45 days. They got a year's supply. A year. And I don't know this to be a fact. I do know in the summer when we were there that they had additional dealer markup addendums on every vehicle on their lot, like it was some type of golden piece of some, you know. I don't know if they're still doing that, but if they are, I suppose that's the first $5,000 you can knock off.
No wonder, though, Ford is coming out and it's feeling like a fizzle, right? Absolutely no wonder.
It is a fizzle. It's not just Ford. We do business with CDJR dealers. Those Jeep 4xEs. Last time I checked, you know, uh, the dealers have a lot of them. The one thing they don't have a lot of is people who want to buy them. So it's everybody everybody guessed wrong when it came to the desire for people to have either full battery electric or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles.
I just pulled up our spreadsheet. So we're still updating. The website's in flux right now so if you toggle trusted dealer, those are the ones where we have the pre-negotiated pricing.
Yes.
Dan on the team's currently working to update pricing. We just got to update pricing between now and the end of the month just this morning. It's in a spreadsheet.
Yes.
Dad, what do you think? You just mentioned the Jeeps, the Wranglers.
Yeah.
What do you think the discount is below invoice on the Wranglers?
In a percentage or a dollar?
It's a percentage, yeah. It's a percentage.
At least 10% below invoice.
10%.
Yeah.
10% below invoice. 10%
and that still won't and that still won't sell them because
no, probably not. The Renegades are also 10% below invoice. Like,
yeah, they all Stellantis guessed wrong, Ford guessed wrong. They guessed wrong. They read more into the market than there was, and I don't know if that was just like wishful magical thinking, but you can see how quickly the tide has turned when it's come to certain vehicles. Is there still a market for EVs? Absolutely there is. Is it as robust a market as it had been? Absolutely it is not. I have said it before and I will continue to say it. The early adopters have adopted. Well, now you have to deal with those who were kind of sort of maybe thinking about it, could be on the fence, and they look at it and they go, not yet, not yet. So That's the real problem. There's too
Let's be
many
clear,
people
though.
that are in the not yet mode.
It's every segment of vehicle, though. Let's be very clear. It's not just EVs, it's every segment of vehicle. I want to pull up, let's do our favorite segment of the show.
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
All right, here we go, Pops. This CarEdge community member went into a dealership to get an out-the-door price on a Jeep Grand Wagoneer.
Yes.
The out-the-door price is $124,000. Now, that in its own right could be the really, you got to be kidding me. Here's the
Yes.
kicker, Dad.
Yes.
This dealer has had this 2022 new Jeep Grand Wagoneer for only 524 days.
It's only a year and a half. It's nowhere close to celebrating its second birthday yet. Why be concerned?
124 grand sitting on it
Yeah.
for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Insanity, Dad. True insanity.
So what are you
And
suggesting?
it's a 2022.
Yeah, so now it's 2 model years old. So what are you suggesting? That if they were really serious about selling it, that maybe it would be $100,000 out the door instead of $124,000 out the door? Because I can tell you the amount of people that are interested in that number interested in a brand new 2 model year old Grand Wagoneer, that number is dwindling by the minute. By the minute. They should have done everything in their power to have gotten rid of that vehicle. I don't know. A year ago, November. A year ago, literally a year ago. The writing was on the wall that they weren't selling then when things were a little bit better and interest rates were a little bit lower. What makes them think that suddenly the demand for those sleds is going to take off when new car interest rates are averaging close to 10%, when the number of buyers in the market is contracting and not expanding? And yes, the people that are in the market are typically today those that could afford $100,000 Jeep, but if they're going to spend $100,000, they're going to get a Yukon or a Suburban or a Denali, but they ain't going to spend it on. I don't care how many commercials Derek Jeter appears in; they're not going to spend it on that damn Jeep Grand Wagoneer. The numbers tell the story. How many have they sold? Not a lot. Not
2022,
a lot.
man. 2022, $125,000. I saw that. I knew I need to put it on your radar. Let's come here to the chat. At Brado,
Thank you,
thanks for the
Brado.
contribution. Has anyone say the average increase in internal combustion engine cost due to subsidizing EVs and canceling internal combustion engine production? All EVs lose for OEMs except for Tesla. So I think there's an interesting conversation to be had there. We've talked about a lot. I have not commissioned any study or anything along those lines, but I think it's fairly obvious to see that the incredibly high margin, full size, big internal combustion engine vehicles are subsidizing investments into new areas. Those new areas, we talked about Ford's Fizzle. We talked about prices going down. Those demonstrate what's happening in the market.
They are, and they do that when they sell and the market's good. And right now the market's not nearly as good, and they're not selling nearly as well. So at a certain point, every one of these manufacturers is going to choke on those vehicles that they were hoping would underwrite their move into EVs. That could be, I hate to say this, that could be the death knell for some of these manufacturers because they guessed so wrong. Okay, they just so misread the market and what the market would bear. It could come back to haunt them. It really
Dad,
could.
look at Stellantis. They're set up for failure right now.
Yes.
Way too many pre-negotiated, under 10% under invoice. And I don't even know if these cars are going to sell. Plus manufacturers, they got too expensive too quickly, not enough quality. It's difficult to sell. No wonder. Who would have ever guessed it? And they even had supply stoppages because of the strike, and they're still way too oversupplied. So yeah, I think there are some really obvious examples in the market of brands who did make big strategic missteps, and now are in a position
Yes.
where they could be headed to their final chapter.
Yes, and I'm sure there's any number of executives who felt very strongly about the direction they were going, and misread everything, and looked at the stats and didn't necessarily want to believe what they were seeing, and now they're going to pay the price for that.
Certainly seems that way. Now, folks, you do not need to pay the full price when you
Yes.
get yourself some CarEdge merch, just like the shirt I am wearing today. We've got at shop.caredge.com. I just dropped that link in the chat. Get some, if it's taxable, it's negotiable merch. Get
Yeah.
some out the door price. Knowledge is power. We have all this and so much more back at shop.caredge.com. We also have back on normal CarEdge, just
Yeah.
caredge.com, our Black Friday promotion. We are offering discounts across all of our various services, with the exception of the concierge. We are not discounting concierge because, believe it or not, we are overwhelmed
Yeah.
continuing to work with all those customers. So we've got discounts on everything except for concierge. Pre-negotiated deals are starting to find their way onto the CarEdge website as well. If you've got questions, if you're confused, if you just need help buying a car, the community forum is here as well. And you can just email us, help or Zach@caredge.com. Pops, we've got one more show before Thanksgiving. And I will just pull up a final comment, which is insane cardigan drip. I think that is a compliment suggesting that you look great. And
Well, I don't know if somebody wanted to know if I was wearing a robe. No, it's a cardigan. And it is blowing like crazy out here. It's so windy at the shore today. And the really good news is that it's only supposed to get worse between now and 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. And we're expecting winds of 35 to sustained winds of 35 to 40 miles an hour. Now, the way my sliding doors let air in, it's going to sound like a freight train's going through my apartment for most of the day. So I am dressed accordingly, ladies and gentlemen, because it's chilly in here.
Well, Pops, stay warm. Enjoy your afternoon. And I look forward to spending some time with you tomorrow and then seeing you on Thursday. Can't wait for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great fun. And I wish we could bring everybody along for Thanksgiving dinner, but we can't. Maybe we'll take some pictures.
Love you, Ted. Enjoy the day.
You do that as well. And everybody, we'll see you back here tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific time. Thank you, handsome. Have a great rest of your day.